Hello everyone, and welcome back to the second part of the Cedar Point Winter Chill Out video, or videos at this point. We're just going to do a continuation of where we left off. I had to do a two-parter because it was feeling like it is dragging on in terms of video size. So I thought, you know, it'd be fair if I split it up into two different videos. That way you can see that the first video contains the presentation of and also when we got there, and the second part will contain what we did after lunch and something that honestly my favorite parts of the tour. After the presentation, we head downstairs for lunch, and during lunch I actually got to meet, I don't know if I should call them YouTubers, but I would say two enthusiasts. Okay, I don't really know how to describe them because their channels are actually quite small, but they are on Instagram, Facebook, and all that. But their names are Wildcat Coasters and Pride Coaster Club. We had a conversation about like new rides coming to 2019, other parks, and also at one point we brought up the game Planet Coaster because the one guy in Pride Coaster Club actually said that he likes playing that game, and after the game was brought up, I mentioned that I was a feature creator, and the next thing I know, the guy's asking me to take a photo with him. That was honestly like, the very first time anybody's ever asked me to take a photo with them, for whatever reason. I don't know, I just found that like interesting and memorable, because that's never happened to me before. Like, I've met viewers before. I wouldn't say Planet Coaster Club is a viewer, like he's just someone who probably knows my name from the Planet Coaster game, from the main menu. But I've met actual viewers before, and it's just been like maybe a conversation or catching up or something, or just saying something maybe I'm working on that is yet to come out, or maybe like on a coaster or something on an actual park. But this time it's, hey, do you mind if I get a photo with you? I don't know, I just found that memorable because that's the very first time that has ever happened to me. I don't know. I just thought I should mention that. But speaking of which, for Wildcat Coasters and Pride Coaster Club, you can actually find their channel links in the description below if you want to check them out or anything. Anyways, after lunch, we left the building, and right outside the building in these pavilions, there's rows upon rows of ready-to-go coaster cars for a Wicked Twister, for Maverick, for there was a few other ones in there I can't remember off the top of my head, but there were a whole bunch of this random cars put in rows in this pavilion. Now there were 3 pavilions, okay? The first one had the Maverick cars, the second one had the Wicked Twister cars, maybe some other coaster, I can't exactly remember for sure. And the third pavilion had, it was basically like a pileup. It wasn't really much of organized rows. It just felt like a messy pileup of all these carts that are around the park for food and beverages. So after we left the lunch building and after we saw the pavilion, we went over to see one of the 2 maintenance shops that we could visit. So in this shop, we can see a small segment of a wooden coaster track. We were also able to see how they fix up the horses on the carousel. 2 top-throw dragster cars fully stripped down and the wheel assemblies on the side. And actually, in fact, and hopefully I can get these numbers right from what I heard, a stripped-down car of the front row car of top-throw dragster weighs around 1,200 pounds, and each individual wheel assembly weighs around 530 pounds. Okay, so these are the numbers that they said. I don't know if those numbers were fully correct. I'm just basing it off of memory. So if I am wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments so that way viewers can actually see the correct measurements down below. But if it is correct, sweet. Okay, moving on. In that building, we also saw a Maverick car and some restraints laying around. Now, they had a display showing off how block sections work, like showing the sensors and the simplified coaster layouts on a computer screen. Okay, just trying to show how block systems work. Now, that didn't really interest me as much because it's very simplified and I already knew how this worked. It was kind of like for something for people who want to become enthusiasts, I guess, but just don't know how things fully function yet, or something like that. I don't know for sure. It was very simplified. It didn't really interest me. But the thing that really interests me though was the display on the laptop beside the block section stuff. This is the script that basically runs the system. Like, it appeared to be the I couldn't really get a close look. It was hard to read because like the font was really small, but couldn't tell if it was the script for the control panel or if it was a script for the block sections. But either way, it was a computer script like basically running the system. So after we saw the mason's shop, we then headed over to the railway display. Okay, so this is where they showed off the train engines that they have. This was pretty interesting to look around and see what there is, but I didn't really get much information about this display regarding maintenance and how things operated around there. So here's just some video footage of this display. So the last stop we made before we left the park was park services. Now, park services, these are the guys that basically clean up the paths around the park. They actually even mentioned how they have to get gum off the path. Like, they said you don't sell gum in the park because of how difficult it is to get the black spots you see on the path, which are gum, to get off. Like, they have to bring out like these, like they're wearing this big tank on their back, and they're having this long hose going down, and you have to basically like burn this or basically melt the gum and then scrape it off the best you can, and they dissolve it and stuff. And it's like a very long process. So they went through that. I can't remember the details of it, of like what the chemical was and everything, but that was basically the idea of what they're doing. But what really interested me about this building was what was once there. So this building that the park services are currently using once housed an old defunct attraction. This old attraction was called the Pirate Ride, okay? And this ride was basically a dark ride themed around pirates, and it closed down back in 1996, and the entire ride was gutted out of the building, and the only evidence that this ride was even there at all, in terms of like visual evidence for somebody who may not even know about the ride that was once there, is the track markings on the ground. Now you can see 3 markings, okay? One is the rail, okay, where the rail that guides the cars around the ride. The second, well, the last 2 really, are the 2 wheels from the car. You can see the wheel markings on the ground. So I found that pretty interesting that we got to visit a building of a defunct attraction that is now being used for park services, like being used for other purposes around the park. And after we saw that building, we left the park. Okay, so it was time to just leave the park. And as we're leaving the park, they gave us a souvenir bag, okay, with the Cedar Point logo on it. As we're leaving the park, we did realize that we had, well, we didn't realize it on our way out of the park. We realized it like before we left the park. But anyways, on our like our badge that we had to navigate the park with, it gave us like timestamps for when we should do certain events, like lunch, the presentation, and the amazement shop or something like that. I can't remember what it was actually called, but basically it was one of their maintenance shops, okay? And we've been looking for it the entire time we're about to leave the park, and as we're leaving the park, it was when we realized that it was actually a off-property maintenance shop, or off-site maintenance shop. So we got in the car, headed on the road, left the property, and now we're on their off-site maintenance shop. So we parked, we got to the door, we went in, and right away, Steel Vengeance cars, half stripped, I want to say. I can't remember the exact state it was in, but they were working on one of the Steel Vengeance cars. We were able to see Raptor cars stripped down, seats taken off, basically just the frame left. We were able to see like the Raptor restraints all over in a pile. We also saw Wilderness Run trains, Woodstock Express, basically just a whole bunch of trains just scattered around, or maybe in rows. Depends if they're working on it or not right now. And at one point, when I was talking to one of the staff members, they were talking about how far they inspect these cars and the parts that gets put on them. So they're showing us one of the restraints, and they showed that they have a marking down saying that there's a crack on this one restraint. And the thing is, no matter how hard you look for the crack, you could not see it, because this crack was actually naked to the human eye. That's how far in detail they look for any slight like risks of something happening. So this crack, even though it's tiny, if it's possible to repair it, they repair it. But if they can't repair it, they actually order a new one in. So it was just interesting to see like how far they go into inspections on these things.
Good example here. The flies and stuff you wouldn't repair.
After that testing, you can see there they found a crack, but you can't see the crack with your naked eye.
That would get repaired or replaced.
Yep.
Depending on the distance of the crack or whatnot.
Yeah, there's certain regulations that B&M sets that we have to follow. A lot of times there's a weld procedure that we can do to fix it, and we can reuse it, but a lot of times we just have to replace the entire thing.
Yep.
We have plenty of these.
So you got to comply not only with Ohio's rules and regulations, but the manufacturers as well.
Correct.
Yeah. Most of the state's regulations actually go off the manufacturers. So depending on what they want is what is required.
The next room, however, after we saw this big room of all these cars laying around, the next room featured all the Aero trains. Okay? You got Iron Dragon, Gemini, Magnum, Mine Ride, you name it. Speaking of Magnum, however, after speaking with one of the staff about the yellow tape on the lap bars, they mentioned that it's used to know if the lap bar is down, as it can be difficult to see if the rider is wearing all black on an all black restraint. So, what they're doing this season, however, because people keep thinking that this yellow tape is something wrong with the lap bar, like people keep thinking that, is this restraint damaged or something? What they're doing now is no longer using yellow tape. The yellow tape is actually still on the lap bar, but it's now going to be covered. The entire lap bar is going to be covered in a yellow strap. Okay, and that's going to be for this season. In 2020, this yellow strap is getting removed. The tape is getting removed, and the restraint will now be dyed yellow. Okay, and that's by the year 2020.
This is where we overhaul all our aero coasters.
Arrows. Just arrows in the strap?
Yep. Well, not just. I mean, we have a lot of other rides that we do. Our Zamperla rides, Camp Snoopy, Planet Snoopy. We'll do all those also, but that's mostly up to park.
How many wheels you swap out a year? You ever done the math?
A lot.
So a single train like that Megan train has...
You have 4 guides on each axle. So you have 8 guides, 4 road wheels, and 4 uplift wheels.
That's a lot of wheels.
And every single wheel will get replaced every single year during overhaul.
12 wheels per train.
Per car.
Per car.
Yes. Yeah, as you can see, there's our wheel rack over there,
Yeah.
and that's already been purged. Yes.
That's interesting. Now, I noticed on the other side that some of the wheels are left.
Yes.
They get a groove to it.
Raptor is very kind on wheels. We have wheels on there that there's rumored to be wheels on there that are still original.
No shit. So what's a Magnum used wheel look like?
A used Magnum wheel?
Do you have anything else though?
No, that's one of the first things that we pull off. Any of our padding that we have to send out to have recoated, that will immediately be pulled off. All of our wheels, whether, let's say last week of the season, we change a wheel, it'll go out whenever we change a wheel. That won't even get saved. It will go out and get recovered also. Every single wheel that was used, period.
I'm just wondering how much groove it gets. You know what I mean? That's all.
The roads and guides don't really get grooves per se.
Yeah.
Your uplift wheels on Magnum, now that will get a big dish in it.
Yep.
But yeah, those they don't really dish out. Sometimes they'll chunk, stuff like that.
Like just only the aero trains here?
In this shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, in this shop we do all the aero coasters. Magnum, Gemini, Corkscrew, Iron Dragon, Mine Ride.
Yeah.
We'll do all those. We do other rides, like I was saying. We do the Zamperla rides. Slingshot's one of ours. Ripcord. I think that's about it. That's a lot of rides, so I mean,
yeah.
when you come down here, you have Magnum, Gemini, Mine Ride. A lot of the parts are interchangeable. These vertical spindles, they're interchangeable. You can use them on any one of the 3 rides, so there's no sense in having that multiple places,
Yeah.
What's the reason on the yellow tape on the lap bars for Magnum?
That seems to be the question of the day. It's a contrast of color. If you have a black lap bar pad, you have a black sweatshirt on, and the kids are trying to, pump everybody through, keep everybody happy. They see that yellow stripe sitting on their lap. Hey, lap bar's down. We know it's down.
Oh, okay.
They're not trying to pull a fast one, like ride it with the lap bar up or sit on a lap bar or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a contrast of colors.
I thought it might be it had to do with the ride photo too, so the camera would pick it up the lap bar.
I don't know that the camera would see that.
Yeah, probably not.
But we're trying to phase out the tape because it just looks like hell. If you see the yellow colors there, or the yellow collars, that's what we're going to. As you go out the door, look kind of over to the left, you'll see finished ones that have those covers on there.
Yeah.
And then next season, we're going to yank them all and just have the padding dyed yellow.
Oh, okay.
The following room, after seeing all these aero coasters, this was by far the best part of this whole tour. Seeing the classic paint job on the corkscrew trains brought back. It was absolutely amazing to see in person, okay? Like, fresh, too. Like, it wasn't like where you could be going to the park in mid-season and maybe got a few damages or paint scraping off or something like that. Like, this is fresh. Like, no deformities or anything at all. Like, just perfect condition. Absolutely amazing to see. Especially for the design itself. Like, I have no words to describe how great this design looks and how I personally feel about it. Like, it's perfect. Now, if you remember from earlier, I did mention the Tilt-A-Whirl getting a retheme. This next room that we went in has the Tilt-A-Whirl cars actually getting us a new paint job for this season. Anyways, as we left the building, we went out into its yard. We can see rows upon rows upon rows ready to go cars, okay? This included Steel Vengeance, Raptor, some flat rides like the Himalayas ride. You got the cars from the Monster ride. So many cars just laid out, just ready to go with the green tape. Now, one thing about these cars, however, when they strip them down and rebuild it, after it's rebuilt, they can't actually just put on the track and then have people go on it. They actually need to have I don't know the number of hours. They didn't say how many hours, but they need to have a certain number of hours of running on the track and constantly inspecting, and once that's all done and good, then people can go on it. But yeah, so that's pretty much it from the trip. There were more of what I saw during this trip in terms of tour buildings I went in, because we did go see costumes at one point and linen services. I just didn't mention too much of that because I didn't think you guys would have that much of interest in hearing about it. But if you do want to hear more about this trip, about things I haven't mentioned yet, or maybe just elaborating a bit more about something I mentioned, just let me know in the comments below. Other than that, that's it for this winter chill video, and I will see you guys next time.
That was first time going to a twist
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Yeah.